What's going on, everybody? We've got JT here, we've got C. Will, and we've got David. This is the next block, and we have a fantastic guest on the backstage waiting for us. We've got Christen Ager-Hanssen joining the show today. It's going to be a fantastic episode. I'm going to give a quick introduction on who Christen is. Christen is a Norwegian internet entrepreneur and venture capitalist. In a Canadian business cover story, he was described as both Gordon Gekko and a modern-day Viking, which is hilarious. In 1999, he became one of Norway's richest citizens. Ager-Hanssen has also been recognized for his expertise in the internet. His work to commercialize the internet in the 1990s included early experiments with search engines, internet infrastructure such as satellite, internet access, legal music distribution, banking and financial services, email advertising, banner ads, and so much more. So he has a lot of experience in the internet culture, a lot of experiences, investing in what is called unicorns. And I think Algorand might be one of those unicorns. So without further ado, let us introduce to the show Christen Ager-Hanssen. How you doing, Christen?
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to let everybody know that's joining in live. We are checking the comments. So if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything of the sort, let us know in the live chat. We'll certainly be taking a look at that. So Christen, pleasure to have you here. And, if we could we get a quick, background on yourself and, how you got into the blockchain ecosystem?
I thought you gave my background quite precisely, actually, but into the blockchain, that happened more like, the way I look at it is I was an internet pioneer on Web 1. And we were back in the days when we bought university networks and things like that. And I was in the telecom industry. I was fascinated about what internet could change and how things will change for businesses. I see that we then passed Web 1, Web 2. We're now moving to Web 3. And Web 3 is next generation internet. And I think that someone has to take a role there. I want to be a disruptor on Web 3, just like on Web 1. The only thing that is different is that this is even more exciting than when internet was created. I think what's happening with Web 3, the whole decentralized philosophy, everything is just amazing. And I love it. And that's why my curiosity is, as I was 18, and I will go there and fight for Web 3 together with everyone else out there wanting to see Web 3 go live with all the DApps, all the DeFi, all the use cases out there, and create mass adoption. Because today this industry is small, it's $1 trillion. There's $1,600 trillion that can be tokenized out there, and I want to be part of it.
Yeah. And so, you kind of said, we are early and obviously, you look at what Ethereum did, it was that early disruptor in the space, once Bitcoin kind of started to, become more popular. And then you had Ethereum kind of jump in the space and start with smart contracts and DeFi and just doing crazy amounts of things. And now you've kind of had this third wave, I guess you could say, of a new L1 race, right? There's new layer ones coming out left and right, promising to be faster, more secure, offer better yields, whatever it may be for decentralization and really the whole Web3 movement. But more specifically, I guess, what got you excited about Algorand? And even not so much just what got you excited about it, but you seem to jump pretty heavy into it as an investor already, creating Algo Ventures. So what makes you confident in Algorand and what do you see in it?
So what I saw with Algorand is the most important thing is starting to get adoption and mass adoption. And what you see with Algorand is that they were able to create use cases out there. And just like FIFA Collect and these type of things, I think is extremely important. And there's not so many that have been so cleverly able to create good use cases. And that's what I like with Algorand. And of course, I like the system. I think the philosophy is great. But I'm not like religion. My religion is not one thing. It's smart contract across the line, utility token. And I don't think we're going to see one player take it all. I think we're going to see more. I think we're going to see consolidation. And there's a lot of things happening out there, and I'm diving into all of it. But one thing is for sure, I'm going to be a player in it.
Yeah, and so
And a
tell us a little bit
significant
about
player.
tell us a little bit about Algo Ventures. I know you've started that. What is your kind of
So
hope
Algo
with that?
Ventures is I want to support use cases, and we're going to do that not only on Algo Ventures, we're going to do it on other platforms too. But we start up Algo Ventures because I want to see and tap into all the use cases. I see there is so much brilliant people out there that need support, that need guidance in how to do it, and need financing. And a lot of these companies are quite early stage, not really mature yet, because I believe you see down up way, and you see a top down. You see that every single blue chip company out there, the global 2000 companies, they're all looking at Web3, but have no clue what to do, how to create their supply chain on blockchain, create transparency through the system, track watches, all of these things hasn't happened yet, but will happen. And that is the blue chip that now going to Bain, Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, asking for advice. So you see a huge step up between the big management consulting firm, increasingly taking on board smart people in the space. And that's a good sign. What you haven't seen is that on the other side, in the low end, where you have the startups, the creativity, and most blue chip companies doesn't have the ability to do disruption. They need to be disrupted from outside, and when they see someone succeed, they will buy them, and using the balance sheet. That's what normally happens. So I like to have that top-down approach, work with global 2000 companies. At the same time, look at picking up good ideas there and see how we could plug them in and help them in going next level.
Okay, I got a follow up. Is there any like specific criteria or things that you're looking for in a startup? I want to, go ahead.
If you go to traditional VC, will say I'm in this space or in this space. I have one rule: I either like it or I don't like it. So there is no criteria.
Fair enough.
I believe that putting criteria on things is for clerks, and that put limitations on you. I'm an eccentric guy. I do what I like to do.
Right. Like that. Good vibes. So I do want to bring up, so we're working with a startup company right now called NifGen, and they're like a competitor to Patreon. So I want to give them a shout out. Like, how does one, I guess I'm talking about like scale. We all want mass adoption and scale.
Yeah.
So what could a startup like that do to scale up other than, getting
so that's why we created an ecosystem where we have the audience. And we have an audience, and we are in our traditional world, which is not a Web3 world, in the internet, we have audience. Now I want to plug in that audience into all these opportunity new apps out there that can create mass adoption. So we're working with big companies in Italy, in France, in Scandinavian, but we have a marketplace. We're kind of an Amazon in certain sectors through loyalty program. So we can plug in any of these Algo Ventures, for instance, and make sure that it gets adopted out there by using our marketing expertise. And this is in gated communities. Yes.
Okay, so looking like JT was breaking down your long history in oil, airlines, all VCs, and so what you're saying is that you guys are buying companies and you're plugging them directly into your chain of other business.
Yes. Yeah, in our chain of so we have a loyalty program where we have now 5 million people on board. We're gonna try to expand that to 100 million people. But gonna get them to adopt for Web3 and Web3 use cases. And it means if I want to get the Para wallet down there and we do a deal with them, I will then push it out and get everyone on board on Para wallet. Because we have that in what I call a gate community. In my world, Facebook and Silicon Valley, they are dinosaurs today.
Yep.
They are heavy loaded, they're old stuff, they're old thinking, they are, old men. I try to stay young by believing in young people, because I believe that believing in young people, I believe that you can be 16 years old and be a superstar. You don't need to go through all the bullshit in life and go, the steps. You can be a star young.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel like that's I feel like
started-
that's ever present right now. With you have so many of these hackathons where 16-year-olds and 14-year-olds are the ones winning it.
And I tell you, I started as a 14-year-old trading stocks.
Wow.
And no one teach me. It was my parents that threw out the kitchen into a container. I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. I dressed that kitchen up in the garage. I sold it for £750 approximately. And I bought my first stocks, which was oil stocks. But then I started trading. Either you have it or you don't have it. And there's so many talented, great people out there, young, that are pushed down by elderly people because they see them as a threat.
Yeah.
Companies see us as a threat.
Yeah.
I would say I love the vibe and the energy, because I 100% agree with you. It is having empowering our youth to explore all their ideas and thoughts. So
let them do it. Don't be scared of them. Let them come. Let them bring them on. And I think it's so important that you don't suppress people. You let them. You lift them. So I'm prepared to bet on anyone touching my door, young enough, but with an idea or a drive, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I invited everyone from the school. I invited everyone from the school because we had a huge problem in heaven. Can I talk, or am I too slow or too long? I mean, I don't know.
No, it's perfect. We love it. We love it.
Okay, so I invited everyone. I live in London. I invited everyone from the school, and because we had a problem in the class. And what was the problem? Oh, we're gonna go from 11 people in the classroom to 17 people in the classroom. And all these perfect, brilliant clerks, they may be KC or professor at Imperial College or whatever. Good people, good, honorable people. But again, what I told them, we're gonna, of course, be a voice. But really what you need to do is develop a character with your son. Don't let them be like you. Don't curl them. Make sure they become a character and believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I went to state school, 32 people in the classroom, and I'm here because I went to state school. If I went to private school, I probably would never be here.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it.
That's amazing.
It has everything to do with that drive. And so, what are some things? Obviously, our show primarily does focus on the Algorand ecosystem and certain other aspects of crypto. But what things in the Algorand ecosystem do you see maybe that have that idea, but also the passionate team behind it that you're wanting to help bring to the masses and scale?
I see that there's a lot of, first of all, I love people with passion. I see there's a lot of passion within the ecosystem. You see a lot of brilliant people. And first you saw the tech people coming, then you see the investment banking coming because they're starting figuring out how much money they can make out of it. What you see now is that you see the smart management consultants coming on board, and now you're seeing blue chip companies starting to adopt. And just like FIFA Collect is a good example, Paul, suddenly you have potential distribution to 3 billion people, and those 3 billion people, they're going to be on NFTs, and they're going to have that favorite star they have. And we can deliver it. I want to mix all of this. So the entrepreneurship, the young people wanting to do something with blue chip company, with the brand, and leverage their brand to create mass adoption. That's what I want to do. And I want to mix that. But by believing in young people, and I don't care, they could be 12 years old and still be that star.
Hey, speaking of mass adoption, right? We're seeing that U.S. is lagging behind on crypto regulation. And can you speak on that and what's kind of going on, or your thoughts?
I say, you want me to talk about geopolitics, which is quite interesting. I think that U.S. is missing in the whole game here. I think that, very simple, I think the future actually for a lot of these things going to be in Middle East.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Dubai next.
That's interesting. I was about to say it's interesting that Algorand is obviously has their big event there in the Middle East. They're in Dubai. Obviously, you have a lot of big players. Binance that's trying to make the crypto capital in Dubai. So there's a lot of stuff going that way.
And I tell you, Middle East missed out of the technology run that Silicon Valley had. I don't think they're going to miss out of this, and they're going to invest heavily in the right stuff. And I think Middle East is going to be the new Switzerland in this world, where they can deal with both the West and East. And I believe that Europe are losing it, and Europe is going to be flipped down to Middle East, and we're more like a museum.
Oof, some harsh words there.
But it's reality. It's actually reality.
Yeah.
What is the future of Europe? I mean, we're so dumb that we are putting restriction on ourselves. How do you can create innovation? I think, if you look at the map of unicorns, most value creation is actually done in UK. And why is that? Because we're open for cultures. We're open for embracing everyone. We take the best out of every single nation. No other country in Europe do that. And that's why we are 40% of all value creation on unicorns is done in UK. And I still believe that is because we have respect for each other. We are curious when we meet someone from a different culture. We're not like, oh, who is this? We're just like, how interesting. What's your background? Exciting.
Yeah. What are some other, I mean, obviously you kind of spoke at the beginning that, you kind of see it as a multi-chain, right? One chain's not going to, control the entire space. And obviously it wouldn't be good, right? Some chains are just better at things than other ones. What are you also bullish on when it comes to just the entire crypto space?
So first of all, what I'm very bullish in, I believe we need to create a new banking system.
Okay.
Because I think the whole intermediate in the banking system, they are defending this position so much, and it needs to be disrupted. I think the one that will be able to do that is Middle East. And they need to use technology that has the speed to do that. And without going in deep into the technology, I'm looking into that sector because I really want to get away with all the intermediates. Yeah. If you look at another industry I'm super excited about, is the whole Hollywood industry. All the intermediates in that industry. I want to connect the creator straight to the source and straight to the audience. Everyone that creates something shouldn't have all this bullshit in between. Right. They're taking advantage of them. Make sure they get straight to it. So if you are this actor, you play this movie, or you're season 8 on a Netflix movie and no one wants to finance you, you have a fan base. Make sure that you have, you use that fan base because they want to see you on the screen, and you can leverage that. But because everyone is so greedy in our world, it means that sometimes they prioritize differently. So give the power to the people, give the power to the creators. I think that's very important. And that's something Web3 does.
Yeah. Obviously my history, I've been 8 years, before I jumped into, this show and creating content for, Algorand and stuff like that. I was in banking for 8 years. And so I know it's ripe for disruption, especially when you look at smart contracts and just the ability of programmable money and programmable loans and things like that as a much more fair and system than we currently have.
100%. I mean, look, what I love with blockchain is the most transparent. At the same time, it's transparency. It has ESG values because transparency is a very important part of our world. At the same time, so many is fighting against it. And I think that Middle East is embracing that transparency that we don't want to see, because that transparency means that we're going to kill existing business models. And I want to disrupt these bullshit intermediates that making money.
Yeah, it's gonna reveal the skeletons and the people who've been kind of controlling stuff for so long, and it's gonna break those walls down.
Correct.
So, and talking about payment processing, essentially, like I've dealt with trying to send money or receive money overseas. Screen went dark.
We lost your screen, Christian. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
So I was trying to send money. Oh, in your audio. Hold on, we'll wait.
It's all right. Just
we can't hear you just yet.
Well, I'll finish my thought real quick. So we're talking about payment processing. Go ahead.
You can I talk now?
You're good now. Yeah, you're
okay. Sorry, someone tried to call me. That was Yes. What was the question? I didn't.
Well, just comment on payment processing fees. Like Visa hit an all-time high, and MasterCard on collecting fees.
They're all gonna die. You know, seriously, MasterCard had no future. There's no future.
No future.
There's no.
I mean, when
future.
you look at Algorand, right? You know, you can send money across any border, right? In USDC algo for a fraction of a penny. Right?
Yeah, and people doesn't want that. That's why they will fight this. And you know, there is no future for their business model. There can be future for their brand, but they need to change.
Yeah.
And I love that we are actually doing all this, because this means that they need to step up and do things differently to the benefit of the people. And we need to be an empowering people with we are in for a food crisis. We're in for electricity crisis. People fighting for their life to survive. Crisis. And we need to help them and making sure that they're going to be better and better off, not people gaining profit from that.
Yeah.
Right. And
so when are you running for like president, or, you know, obviously I know you're not in the US, but I feel like you need to run for an elected office to really, like, you know, bring in these things. But then again, sometimes the best way to disrupt is not actually from the politics side of everything, but from the outside, from like the outside. You're doing.
I tell you, I'm going to be more and more on the scene when it comes to this space. And I believe, I'm a strong believer in it. I think it's more exciting than what we did 30 years ago. And I have the same hunger like I was 15 years old to do there and fight for everything I believe in. And that is empowering the people, creating more transparency in this world, work with everyone that wants to create that, and get rid of all this bullshit that this world is built on, taking advantage of everyone else.
Yeah. Well, you got me. I'm fully behind you. So, you know, crypto for change, right behind Algo Ventures. We're going to change the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We will.
Yeah, you know, you alluded to it a little bit. You mentioned the the looming energy crisis and electricity crisis and things of the sort. And I kind of want to get your opinion, because of course we have a global inflation crisis as well, and we have in some people's opinions, central banks that are really not dealing with the problem that well. How do we get out of this mess? How do global governments get themselves out of this runaway inflation and get their economies back in check?
By stimulating it, and by creating growth. And you don't do it by increasing taxes. You do it by actually stimulating all people, stimulating human capital. Yeah. If you take a country, let's take Norway. I'm from Norway. I'm a blue-eyed Arab from Norway. Okay? So Norway is the richest country in the world. We own 2% of every single share on any listed market in the world. And that's a power. We have 5.5 million people. Does that make Norway a successful country?
It depends on the metric you're looking at.
No, it doesn't make them successful at all. It is their biggest handicap, because you will lose out the most important thing in any balance sheet of a country, which is what you need to stimulate. It's the human capital base, the future earning of those people that can generate future income for you. And if they get lazy, like in Norway, you finish. Doesn't matter if you have all that wealth.
Yeah.
It takes you down. Look at Ireland. Ireland is the most successful country in the world. Why? They had the highest GDP in the world. They were bankrupt in 2008. They had to fight themselves back.
Right.
So fighting yourself back, I bet on people that can survive on the street. That's the type of people I like to bet on. Not people that are born with a silver spoon.
Yeah.
And that's what these governments need to do. They have to understand it's not about the money, the wealth, the oil. It's about the human capital base, and get it stimulated.
Yeah. So and obviously go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's stimulating the people and then empowering your people, which therefore powers your community, and that keeps spreading. That's what you're talking.
Yeah, and that's spreading positive energy. When you create things, people feel good about themselves and they feel proud. And as a nation, you feel proud. Like Iceland, small country, also bankrupt.
Oh, I love Iceland.
Iceland is amazing. Yes. Small country, went bankrupt, did some mistakes, but recovered so fast. Why? Because the drive, the energy, because it's
Yeah.
always in that drive. If you have that drive, you can do anything. Without that drive, nothing. And that's what happens when you start getting lazy. That's why we need to create stimulation. And that is education, training, or whatever it is. But it is the capital base. And there's only one way to become rich as a nation and as an individual. That is in here.
And
The
so you
human
kind of,
capital base of you is your future.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Human capital base of a nation is their future. So when state leaders stop being dumb and try to believe that life is a popularity contest, and the right take long-term strategic decision, then we will see great leaders.
I couldn't agree more. David, do you have a question before I
I
jump
was
in?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, obviously it seems like, the way you see it is, the Silicon boom, and what we saw there was, the Fed, and obviously just speaking for the United States, they kind of turned the printer on. They were, rates were low. The ability to get capital was easier, and use that capital to then grow. And you saw all these businesses flourish. But now we've, the past 2 years, we've seen the Fed pivot and all these things, money's hard to get a hold of, credit is really weighing on the average person more than it ever has before. And so that's why so many people, I think, are either watching to see if the Fed pivots, and we see that I guess the belief in the people that we can create a better future. And obviously I know we all hope it's blockchain. But obviously you kind of see it molding to a different capital, maybe not where it was in Silicon Valley, but over in the Middle East.
I strongly believe in Middle East. If they're doing the right decisions and they stimulate and they make sure that they are getting the right human capital there, they have a future. If you look at Europe, if you look at the whole, I like to start drilling down from world GDP, which is $90 trillion, and then you start looking at the world and tap into that. Then $33 trillion is China, price adjusted at least. $11 trillion is India. And 2/3 of the world is dictatorship. Our problem with our democracy today is that we diluted our power to take decision. So we are incompetent when we're not able to take long-term decision. We will have a prime minister take one decision one day, 2 weeks later they're sacked.
Yeah.
Yes.
What type of leadership is that? It will never last, because we need strong leadership. We need someone that pointing a course that are long-term, that is not short-term gains.
Yeah, I would say
that's what we need.
In the U.S., is exactly what you explained, is that every other administration, they just reverse what we did 4 years ago. So we're only moving backwards in time. And then the people, we're getting stretched out, and which also you can see like with Facebook and all of them, all of that quantitative easing gone. They don't know how to make money.
I tell you, Google is a dinosaur. Facebook is a dinosaur. They have no future because they already missed out of all of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You need disruptors. You need people that are prepared to go stick out their nose and take a chance. Like Elon, he taking on Twitter. He changing things. He has the drive.
Right.
But that's what you need. These old dinosaurs like Facebook and Google, they created the world. They were part of the first wave of .com. But today they're dinosaurs, just like an Exxon.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And seriously, invention is not going to happen there. They will find company, they will buy them, try to plug it into their ecosystem, just like Facebook did with Instagram, etc. But they're not the future.
No, they just
we need to be the future.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I like that. And I want to ask, we talked about, legislators and regulators across the world, but I didn't really get your opinion on this. So I'm curious, because of course we mentioned that there's a lot of pushback against the blockchain industry in general. What types of regulations would you like to see in the space, whether it be in Europe or the United States? Because I'd have to imagine there's at least something that would help the space, at least gain institutional adoption without hurting the essence of crypto. Now, I'm unaware if you have any opinions there.
I think I have opinion on most things, so I'll have an opinion there. In my world, most of the things, and in any new world like this, I mean, the blockchain industry is worth approximately $1 trillion, and there's 22,000 assets out there. most of them in my world are bullshit. I don't believe in them. I understand why people are suspicious towards them. It's people I don't believe in. Most is crap. And I believe in smart contracts. I believe in that side of the industry. I believe, of course, that you need a currency to support and stimulate an economy and all that in the ecosystem. Maybe there's 50 assets very exciting out there that going to be and take this market. But these assets is what I'm interested in. The bullshit I want to get rid of. I hope the regulators kill it.
Well, I got a question too to follow about regulation. So we got Big Boy Crypto, big YouTuber, versus Sam Bankman-Fried right now at FTX. I got to talk about this. What do you feel about his laws, what they did in New York with the bit licenses and basically coming after decentralized exchanges?
I think that's wrong. I mean, decentralized is the future. I believe in, centralized protocol. I mean, that's part of it. You need to protect the protocol, but you need decentralized everything. Because that's the only way. It's like, if you want to take down Norway, our biggest weakness is we're not decentralized. For Russia to do that is like easy. Because we have so many weak points.
Yeah. Hey, that's a fair point. I do believe that decentralization is more resilient in the long run. I mean, any central entity, I mean, you just have one point of attack. It's very, if someone's willing enough, they'll certainly attack it.
And there will be, because this is also geopolitical issues.
Right.
Yep.
And that's why it's important. So this is weapon in the right hands. We need to understand that this is very powerful weapons if it's used wrong or right. That's why I believe in decentralization, because it's going to be a more transparent world, it's a better world, and it's an important part. And that's why you can call it ESG. It is really giving the world something better. And not everyone has the same interest, but it creates more transparency, and it's important, and we are empowering people, and we take away middlemen, which means that it's going to benefit, every single human being living on Earth. And we want to be there, help them.
Yes.
One question I have, just outside of smart contracts, at least for the moment, is Bitcoin, right? What are your thoughts on Bitcoin with what a lot of the mainstream is pushing with becoming digital gold and a world reserve asset?
I don't
stuff
believe
like that.
I don't believe in that for a second. I'm not a put it this way, I'm not a BTC fan. Yeah. I don't even call it Bitcoin.
What do you call it?
Shitcoin?
BTC.
Okay.
BTC. Yeah.
This actually is a great segue into a question that I did have, because you had mentioned on your Twitter not too long ago that you had at least a little bit of an assumption on who Satoshi Nakamoto might be. Any chance you'd like to illuminate our audience with?
No, put it this way, I have no doubt who Satoshi is.
Fill us in.
No, I believe that Satoshi is Craig Wright. I'm 100% convinced.
And just for our audience, who is Craig Wright? Because I'm not familiar with him.
Oh, you should be.
He was in that documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, so Dr. Craig Wright, he created the original Bitcoin protocol back in 2008, in my opinion, and he's Satoshi. And in principle, everything happened from there. It was like a fork of what's called BTC today, or what people seen as Bitcoin. Is actually a fork out of that original white paper. And out of there, you created Bitcoin Cash, and then there is something called BSV. And I think that's actually, when it comes to banking and transaction, is some of the things outside Algorand. And if I should have, if I should have my favorite world, I would have a mix between Algorand and BSV, because technology-wise, BSV is really, really good. And they have some brilliant minds there. And I dived into it, and I love that part. I think there's been too much noise about Satoshi, and I don't really care about who Satoshi is. But if you ask me who I believe it is, I'm 100% sure it's Dr. Craig Wright. He has 20 master degree plus and a number of PhDs. He's one of the most brilliant minds I ever met. And only a person like that will be able to invent what was the original white paper here.
Yeah. And correct me. I mean, is Dr. Craig Wright, is he still alive? I know that
Yeah,
there's been,
he's alive. I met him, maybe 4 or 5 times. I spent a couple of hours diving into his brain, which is an amazing journey for everyone that gets an opportunity. And I have to say that I like conspiracy theories, so I like to see.
Me too.
And I one of my favorite playwriters is Henrik Ibsen, An Enemy of the People. When people hate someone, there needs to be something with them, and he's probably one of the most hated person on earth. And then I'm wondering why, because that's the question you always ask yourself. Right. Not that all these compact minority is right in their thinking. You think, why do they hate him? And then you go and study that, and you do your research, and you do your homework, and I concluded he's Satoshi. And I started looking into the world of this, who's the power behind it. And you look at Silicon Valley, they all missed out on Web3. They all missed it out. And the only serious company in the US that actually are a player in this industry and can be, depending on how they do it, and they're a Dinosaur. They used to be a Dinosaur. I used to work for them, actually. That's IBM. Yeah. Because they are filing patents, and they're doing several smart moves. And Alibaba is doing things, and Tencent is doing things. But Silicon Valley, they totally missed this.
Yeah.
Can you speak on Silvio Macaulay and Algorand? Because like in the comments, someone said your first coin.
Is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I adore what he created. Algorand is to my heart. And what I like is that you created a very stimulating environment where people are excited, and you see no use cases starting to bloom. And that's what you need. It doesn't matter if you have a platform, because I look at this just like operating system back in the telecom industry. It's going to be consolidated. We are today with Android, iOS, and a couple of others.
Yeah.
But it's going to be consolidated. And I think that what he created, and Algorand, and they were early on, the proof of stake, the whole principle of those things, which I love. I think it's a very, very brilliant model, and it's the model that fits me best.
Mm-hmm. Just because we kind of talk about the Algorand being the most, I would say, one of the most green blockchains with its lightweight ability on consensus. What are your thoughts around all the environmental scores and just the environmental talk when it comes to the likes of Bitcoin, which is still proof of work? You have Ethereum moving to proof of stake to be better, and then you have Algorand. What's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, so proof of work and what you call BTC. I don't believe in that at all. You see the merge that Ethereum did when they went from proof of work to proof of stake. Big step. Maybe I haven't worked completely out, but I really hope that's working well out. I see that, I think the green part of this is so important. We need to be, the planet is what we have. And we can't use that with computers or kill it by over excessive use to do some bullshit mining of BTC.
Right.
No, absolutely. And while we're on the topic of crypto and Algorand still, I'm curious to get your opinion on what does Algorand need to do in order to break into the mainstream? Like, how does it reach that mass adoption, or really just crypto more broadly? Because it's getting there, but we still haven't really breached that mainstream adoption yet. So what do you think needs to change in order for that to happen?
You need to tap into the top 10,000 companies in the world and their deployment of it. And as soon as that started, which now happening, I studied, I looked at McKinsey, I looked at Bain, I looked at Boston Consulting Group. Just the last 6 months, there's so many people moving into that sector within those consultancy company, and that's going to change it all. It's not going to be changed by Algorand Foundation. They don't have the skill set to change this. It's going to be changed by the big consultancy firm. And that's just how it is. And the board asked the question, what do we do about Web3? The CEO is scared that he's missing out on something and end up doing it. Look at LVMH. They're going to follow their Hublot watches, or they're going to follow Tiffany, the diamonds. They're going to use that type of technology. Then you have mass adoption, and it's naturally going to be part of everyone's life without we necessarily seeing it. So mass adoption will happen without even every individual seeing it or understand that there's something behind it. Because quite often, if I'm surfing the internet, so much is happening, but I can't see it.
Yeah.
And people are tapping in to income stream that I have no clue about.
I like what you said, though, with the 10,000 companies. I haven't heard anyone speak on that. So I'll say, dope, we're going to spread that out.
No, and we should spread it out, because that's where it starts. And that's why I'm so happy to see that all this, and at the same time, when you talk to Bain, you talk to McKinsey, and they tell me about meeting they have with the CEOs. And the CEO goes, blockchain, isn't that Bitcoin?
They need education.
They have no clue. They have absolutely zero understanding.
Well, I do got another comment. You talking about mass adoption. Who I see really making moves right now is Polygon. And they have something, I think, figured out with what you said. They're making moves and partnerships. You know any insights on why Polygon or what they're doing?
Not really, actually, no.
Okay. Yeah, I would say they're definitely making some of those moves that you named.
So I would say the top companies, but then, look at the movie industry. I mean, I want to do direct, straight financing from the fan base, straight to the creator.
That's what I want.
I want this into this. What?
I want to invest in a Marvel movie,
precisely. I want to invest in this, and I'm ready to do it. And that is an NFT, and you fractionalized NFT token.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
It would be.
And that's empowering people to take decision on what they want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a question here. Oh, sorry. No, it's nothing. It's just a fun one, actually. And it looks like somebody in the audience has the same question. So while we're on the topic of crypto and Algorand still, are you going to Algorand's Decipher in Dubai later on this month?
That is my plan, yes.
Hey.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, all three of us are going to be there as well. So we hope
I'm looking forward to see them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to have a live show there, so we'll for sure have to bring you in with maybe some of the other big investors and big names in the space that are going to be there.
Right.
On a more maybe not so crypto and blockchain specific question, what would be your advice? Obviously, you were, I think JT said in 1999, you were Norway's richest citizen. What would be your advice to young people, right, who are out here wanting to build wealth? So obviously, maybe it's a good idea or something like that, but what would be your advice to the younger generation on building wealth, especially with the future that you see it, the direction we're going?
So if you're going to build wealth from scratch as young, there's only one way in my world. If you think you're going to invest yourself to it, you need to do invention. You need to create something. And that's why you're going to trust yourself. When everyone else tells you can't do it, then go and do it. My advice is always believe in yourself, and don't believe that you have it right from day one. I divide people into two groups. And I wrote a book 25 years ago called Jellyfish Society. And this chapter is called The Fifth Avenue Tourist Syndrome. So either you choose to be a tourist in your life or a native. When I'm coming to New York, I stand still as a tourist, looking at the map, I end up buying fakes. That's the life for 99.9% of the population. Life is about having the guts, trusting your instinct, and walk. The energy in you walking, you create opportunity. They don't see you, you see them. You're not taking advantage of in life. So start moving and don't let teachers or anything else stop you. But by just moving, you create opportunities. Trust yourself and be the aggregator of the wisdom of everyone else and make it yours. Define yourself through others, but by aggregation of everyone you respect.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's how we create wealth.
Powerful advice.
Yeah, I definitely, that's one thing I know I've learned is, you look at all the, the people who have made it, even, and most of the people who make it, they don't have the fancy degrees, and, they don't tout all that. They actually, most of them dropped out of school, but when they dropped out, they went and created. And I'll say this from my start, when I started creating content on YouTube, when I started my YouTube channel, even though I wasn't making any money, I felt more alive during those first 4-6 months of creating that channel and knowing that it was something I was creating than I had in my whole entire life.
And the point is, you get more happier.
Yeah.
You get energized by it. So you push even more energy for everything you create. You do it. I mean, I know I started doing painting just to get my brain to not be so analytical.
Yeah. Nice.
Because it's all about combination of all skill set. I believe in cross skill set. Always be curious. You can learn everything. Internet is there. There's something, and someone tells you, oh, this is law, you can't this, and you need a lawyer for this. Use internet and read up, and you understand that those lawyers are bullshit. They have no fucking clue. They are fee suckers, and they just want to take your money.
Yep.
I got help you. Help yourself.
Another question. So not me, but say I have a project, I'm a millionaire, and I want to scale up from 1 million to 1 billion. What advice do you give?
That is a much more complicated question, actually. But today my advice will be, I will actually go and bet on some of the team around some of the smart contracts out there. I would invest in things like Algorand. Because I believe this is the future. I mean, we're talking about $1 trillion is this industry, divided into 22,000 assets. I think Algorand is approximately close to 3% of the whole asset class. And there's $1,600 trillion out there that's going to be tokenized. All of that going to be on
somewhere
Web3, on blockchain. And all companies going to need to deal with this. And if you're going to look at investment, I prefer looking at investment there than in the stock market now.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was listening to Kevin O'Leary, and he was talking about human capital. Our best thinkers now coming out of these universities like MIT and whatnot, they're all on blockchain. And he said that
all the smartest people in the world are on blockchain. Yep. I mean, seriously. And but again, another rule: brain is free labor. The smartest brain in the world doesn't help. Why?
You need the energy. You need to work for it.
You need a combination of skill set. That's why I never stop aggregating everything else. Because one skill set, you end up just like a lawyer or some other clerk or an investment banker, limited into one scope.
Yeah.
Be a creator. Embrace the world, and every knowledge you can get on board, that is what builds you.
Hey, Christian, say, when are we having our weekly calls? Because this is that energy every Monday. You know what I'm saying?
You need to start like a Monday motivational podcast.
I'm happy to do 5 minutes every time you have a thing, and just like pump energy into people. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, honestly, this has been a thrilling conversation. We're nearing the top of the hour now, and I do have a meeting after this, but I want to ask, how do people get involved? How do people learn more about Algo Ventures? It's a relatively newer project on the scene. We talked about it a little bit during the show, but how can the audience members or any projects or builders or anything of this sort reach out and get in contact with Algo Ventures?
We have a web address they can contact us on, and we are screening a lot of different cases, and we're employing more people into that area. We probably will have another 5 people that will be focused on doing use cases and invest in use cases. We're also looking with other VCs to see how we can co-invest with them in the space. And now we're analyzing the space to see where we find the most scalability in it.
Nice. And then one question, kind of, a somewhat serious and also a lighthearted question. They kind of go hand in hand. One, what do you see for FIFA, right? A lot of people in the Algorand ecosystem are, really excited about this big FIFA partnership. What are your thoughts there? And also, who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
Who's going to win the World Cup? First of all, I love the FIFA project. I think it's brilliant. I think it's the smartest thing, use cases out there, because it's all about the desire. I think you're going to see every single sport club doing the same thing with their own content.
Yeah.
Because if I can own the moment of Haaland, my favorite, and Manchester United, winning Champions League with that goal, that has a secondary market. It's something you can trade forever. You create those moments. That's why I like the back catalog of Hollywood, because you can take every film clip and turn them into NFT, and it will have a secondary market because you have an emotional attachment to it. So I don't believe in the bullshit NFT, which is all the apes and things like that. It's it's not for me. I believe in where you have emotional connecting to the object. I have a history, a scene. It can be part of a music. It can be part of a film. It can be part of a picture, something I experienced or I can feel with. Then it has a secondary market for someone else that feel even more. That is the market I believe in when it comes to that type of NFTs.
Oh,
that's nice.
I agree.
And who's winning the World Cup? Who do you got? Who do you want to win?
Italy.
Wait, there we go. There we go.
Are they in the World Cup? I thought they weren't in it.
I think they're in it, right? Oh,
no,
they're not.
No, I didn't think Italy was in the World Cup.
They lost it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm living in UK, so it's England.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Hey, it'll be a fun group stage. You're there with the USA, Wales, and Iran, so that's gonna be a fun one to watch.
That was a fun.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I hope. I mean, there's been so many things around Qatar down there. I hope it's gonna turn out very well, and it's gonna be a great World Cup. And I'm gonna try to see if it's. I'm invited actually so I have final tickets.
Hey, that'd be
nice.
Awesome.
Well, if you need anyone to, help attend that the game with you, just let us know.
Let's do it to an Algo Venture.
Yeah, there we
Absolutely.
go.
Absolutely.
Shoot a live show from the World Cup.
Absolutely, that'd be great. Well, Christian, this has been honestly phenomenal. We probably had a good 5 or 6 more questions, so we'll have to do this again sometime if you're willing. But we really appreciate you taking.
Anytime, I love to speak to people that have the energy and want to change the world. Anytime, and thank you for joining your show. My pleasure, and I hope to see you very soon again.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see you in Decipher, hopefully.
And thanks so much for everybody that watched to the end of this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I just want to give a little shout out to non-fungible domains. Go to NF Domains, I believe maybe .com. I can't remember the website, but go to NF Domains, get your unique readable wallet address, the .algo domain name, and catch us in the next episode next week. It's going to be fantastic. I believe we have Koi Banks coming on next week.
Yeah, yes. App.nfdomains.
App.nf.domains, I believe, is accurate.
Probably.
Correct?
Perfect. Y'all who has been tapping in once again. I got my SeaWorld.algo. Yep, we all got our algos.
Boom, boom. All right, everybody. We will see you next week when we talk to Koi Banks, and hopefully soon we'll be seeing some of you in Dubai at Decipher. All right. Take care, everybody.
See everybody. Thanks for tuning in.